Kiba Jaya Jaya Gaura Chande Aroti Ke Sobha Jaya Jaya Gaura Chande Aroti Ke Sobha Pairajikacharya A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Pairajikacharya Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki Ananti Koti Vaishnavinda ki Namacharya Hardas Thakur ki Prem Se Kaur Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Radha Sivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda ki Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Gaurdhan ki Maipur Vrindavan Dham ki Nilachala Jagannath Puri Dham ki Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi ki Ganga Devi Amul Devi ki Harinam Sankirtan ki Samveda Bhaktavinda ki Nitai Gaura Premanandi. All glory assembled devotees, all glory assembled devotees, all glory assembled devotees, all glory Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. So we're going to sing praise to Nrsimhadev for protection. If you can stay 5 minutes sitting down, then we saw Mahaprasad next door, and there'll be a Bhagavad Gita class here at 7:30.
Haribol. I don't know if I'm able to play. Namaste Narashimhaya. Praladadaine Danyakashipu Vakshaha Shilatankanakalaye Ito Nishimho Parato Nishimho Yato Yato Yamitato Nishimho Bahir Nishimho Hidaye Nishimho Nishim Hamadim Sharanam Prapadye Kavakara Kamalavale Naga Adbhuta Shringam Darita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringam Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Nirsimhadev Jaya, Nirsimhadev Jaya, Nirsimhadev Jaya, Nirsimhadev Jaya Praratmana, Jaya Praratmana, Jaya Praratmana, Jaya Praratmana Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Lord Nishimadev Bhagavan ki, Prahlad Maharaj ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaura Premanande, Hari Bol. Toute gloire aux dévots assemblés. So there is a Bhagavad Gita class and there is as well Mahaprasad in the reception. So thank you for coming in the Bhaktivedanta Manor. Thank you to sing nicely for the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for your help. Thank you very much.
Namaka Prabhu, did somebody pass away?
My father.
Oh, well, why should you? Facebook not really.
88. Heart failure. We knew he was going.
Yeah.
I came back on the 14th from Baroda. 26th I guess, so I went again.
Oh.
It's one of the things. Eh?
Yeah. He's in a good place.
Yeah, very good place. In the devil.
Hare Krishna.
I have a Bhagavad Gita. Is it there? Okay.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari A bit awkward. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today reading from chapter 10, Opulence of the Absolute, text number 19. On mine is page 531. I don't know what page that will be on. Chapter 10, text 19. You found it? Okay. Sri Bhagwan Uvacha. You want? Yeah. You can repeat. Hantate katayasasmi Hantate katayasmi Divyahi Atma Vibhutaya Pradhanayata Kuru Sesta Nasti Anta Vistraya Me Sri Bhagwan Uvacha Hantate Katayasmi Divyahi Atma Vibhutaya Pradayanta Kurusesta Nasti Anta Vistaryame Sri Bhagwan Uvacha Hantate Katayasmi Divyahi Atma Vibhutaya Padayanta Kurusesta Nasti Anta Vistaraya Me. You want to try? Sri Bhagwan Uvacha. No, you just do the Sanskrit. Sri Bhagwan Uvacha. Hantate Katayajasmi. Divyahi Atma Vibhutaya. Padayanta Kurusesta Nasti Anta Vistastame. Okay, word for word. Sri Bhagwan Uvacha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Hanta, yes, te, unto you, Katayasmi, I shall speak, Divya, divine, he, certainly, Atma Vibhutaya, personal opulences, Padayanta, which are principal, Kuru Sesta, or based on the Kurus, Na Asti, there is not, Anta, limit, Vistrasya, to the extent, me, my. Translation proper by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, I shall tell you of my splendorous manifestations, but only of those which are permanent. Arjuna, for my opulences is limitless. Srila Prabhupada's purport. It is not possible to comprehend the greatness of Krishna and his opulences. The senses of the individual soul are limited and do not permit him to understand the totality of Krishna's affairs. Still, the devotees try to understand Krishna, but not on the principle that they will be able to understand Krishna fully at any specific time or any state of life. Rather, the very topics of Krishna are so relishable that they appear to the devotees as nectar. Thus the devotees enjoy them. In discussing Krishna's opulences and his diverse energies, the pure devotees take transcendental pleasure. Therefore they want to hear and discuss them. Krishna knows that the living entities do not understand the extent of his opulences. He therefore agrees to state only the principal manifestations of his different energies. The word pradayanta, principle, is very important because we can understand only a few of the principal details of the Supreme Lord, for his features are unlimited. It is not possible to understand them all. And vibhuti, as used in this verse, refers to the opulences by which he controls the whole manifestations. In the Amra Kosha dictionary, it is stated that vibhuti indicates an exceptional opulence. The impersonalists or pantheists cannot understand the exceptional opulences of the Supreme Lord, nor the manifestation of his divine energies. Both in the material world and the spiritual world, his energies are distributed in every variety of manifestations. Now Krishna is describing what can be directly perceived by the common man. Thus part of his variegated energy is described in this way. Omagyanti mandasya gana gana salakaya chakshumina tasmai Sri Guruve namaha Sri Chaitanya mano bhistam stapitam ina bhutale swayam rupa karamaya dadati swapadantikam Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pasaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachandi Visheshunwadi Paschachayana Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Siva Gadada Siva Sari Gaur Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So in this 10th chapter, the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita lists 82 of Krishna's opulences. By the end of the chapter, Lord Krishna says that this is just a spark of his splendor. It's mentioned in the 10th chapter, text 2, that even the demigods, they cannot understand who Krishna is, because they have the mood of false ego. Enjoying mentality is there. So the majority of them get covered by who Krishna is. It says even Indra, after Naraksura was killed, Krishna went and returned the earrings of Aditi back to Aditi, and he also, because Indra went to Krishna and he said, Naraksura took my hearing ability away, I can't hear properly. So Krishna went and restored Indra's ears back, and he gave the earrings of Aditi back, everything. But then Krishna took Satyabhama to the heavenly planets, and Satyabhama wanted, Rukmini had a Parijata flower. Parijata trees only grow in the heavenly planets. So Krishna gave us Parijata tree. So Indra was not happy with that. And Indra fought, the demigods fought with Krishna, and Krishna defeated them. So this shows you how opulences can be an impediment for a devotee who's mixed, who's not advanced. And it says even in the higher planets, it's more harder to turn to Krishna than in the earthly region. Because in the heavenly planets, the opulence is much greater. It says like the mangoes, they drop from the trees and they create rivers and they create jewels afterwards. And it said the demigods' bodies, they have fragrant smell. So it's just comparison-wise, in terms of, and it says even to even the demigods have so much opulences and everything, still to please them is much harder than pleasing Krishna. To please the demigods, you have to do big sacrifices and offer big opulence and everything. Only then they can be pleased. But pleasing Krishna is easier because only Krishna is asking your devotion. So he just wants leaf, flower, fruit or vegetables. He just wants your devotion. That's what Krishna wants. So from that we can see how Prabhupada comments in the 7th canto of Bhagavatam, he comments how pleasing other people is more difficult because other people demand so much from you. Pleasing Krishna is very easy because he just wants your devotion. But the only thing is, in order to surrender to Krishna like this, one has to understand who Krishna is. And there's a science in understanding who Krishna is, because when you speak of Krishna, Krishna is never alone. That's like a king or a government, he's always by his secretaries and military. So Krishna is always with his associates. So one can never separate the devotees from Krishna. But this is why Prabhupada emphasized that we should not depend on the mundane eyes, we have to depend on the eyes of scriptures, so we can see things properly. And in the 3rd canto of Bhagavatam is mentioned how different levels of devotees are there. You have to learn how to deal with them. But in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's simplified. Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, he says, because Lord Chaitanya came to show the perfect example of a devotee. So if one accepts Lord Chaitanya as a supreme spiritual master and accepts Lord Jagannath as a supreme Lord, then perfection is guaranteed. So Lord Chaitanya, when he came, he showed the real opulence. Like he showed 21 hours of different incarnations to his devotees. He grew a mango tree. It was out of season, but he put a mango seed. And the mangoes didn't have any seeds or any skin. It was just fresh mango. But Lord Chaitanya gave the highest opulence, which is the holy name. It says, Nama Chintamani Krishna, Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, Nama Namine. That the holy name is like a Chintamani. It's like a touchstone. It says there's a touchstone, which is Chintamani. You touch anything to iron, it becomes gold. So holy name is like that. It's considered very Chintamani. So Srila Prabhupada, he gives a few examples to show how by surrendering to Krishna, although we are in an ocean of difficulties in the material world, it's like an ocean. But by surrendering to Krishna, it's like jumping over a calf's footprint. In India, when it's rainy season, you can see many calves that put hoofprints. So to jump over is very easy. So Prabhupada gives an example. He says, before the planes were coming in, the ships were going to India from England to Bombay, 15 days. It takes 15 days. But by plane, you can go 9 hours. So that's Lord Chaitanya's mercy. And the other opulence of Krishna is that he when he descended, he showed his opulences of how he is Supreme Lord, how he is God. Like he had all 6 opulences at one time: wealth, strength, beauty, knowledge, renunciation, and fame. He had all these 6 opulences at one time. And even Krishna showed his opulence to Brahma when Brahma came in Dwarka to see him. He knocked on the door. The doorman asked, "Who are you?" And he said, He went to Krishna. And Krishna asked the doorman to ask which Brahma he is. Brahma said, "Why are you asking which Brahma? I'm the 4-headed Brahma." When Brahma comes in, he asks Krishna, "Are there any other Brahmas?" So by Krishna's mystical potency, the 4-headed Brahma saw many other Brahmas, 1,000,000 heads, 10,000 heads, like this, governing different universes. But the 4-headed Brahma could see all of them, but they couldn't see him. So that's Krishna's opulence. How he showed how this is just 1/4 of his creation. And the other opulence of Krishna is, as is read in the Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, part 1, it's mentioned how Brahma's life is 311 trillion 40 billion years of earthly calculation. This is his life. And according to Mahavishnu, who's Krishna's expansion of the expansion, who creates unlimited universes through his breathing, Brahma's life is just under a second. So from that, we can see Krishna is on the fourth dimension. We can see things on 3 dimensions, but Krishna is on 4th dimension. So, the secret of Prabhupada mentioned in the 3rd canto of Bhagavatam in the beginning, he mentions to appreciate Krishna's opulences, one has to do austerity. Now, to do the austerity like previous times people used to do, sit in the fire, you're in the hot sun, you have fire around you, you're doing meditation. The yogis, they go in cold water during the winter time up to their neck. These are the tapasya of austerity people do. But Lord Chaitanya simplified it for everyone. And Srila Prabhupada even simplified it even more. Like Lord Chaitanya said, if someone is not doing 60 for 100,000 names, he's not a lakopati. And so Prabhupada, he could see in the West people could not manage that amount of chanting, 5 hours, 6 hours. So Prabhupada minimized it to 16 rounds, 28,000 names. Takes 2 hours. So we can see in this way how Krishna is very eager to reciprocate with the living entities. And Prabhupada comments in the 3rd canto, this is manifestation of Garbhodakasya Vishnu. Prabhupada comments in there that occasionally the creation gets destroyed, and Mahavishnu goes to sleep, then he creates again. But when Krishna creates to reclaim the fallen souls, because he's feeling the separation just like a husband is feeling separate, or wife is feeling separate from husband, like that. Krishna feels sympathy for the fallen souls that are suffering in a separate from him. He feels that compassion. So we can see, although Krishna is full of all opulences, at the same time he's detached from the material world. Generally you find in the material world, people who have opulence, it's very hard for them to become detached. And you can see even if opulence is taken away from these people, they can't live. They can't function. Dysfunctional, right? They can't think properly, they can't work properly, they can't live. But we can see with Krishna, he's not attached. So Prabhupada makes another point. He says, Srila Prabhupada asked that spiritual life is joyful. Are there any challenges? So Prabhupada said, the challenge in spiritual life is to come to mode of goodness. Then you can have proper vision how to go forward. Now in the Krishna book is commented, Srila Prabhupada asked, okay. It may be questioned here why a devotee should be attached to the quality of goodness in the material world if he is transcendental to all material qualities. The answer is that there are different kinds of people existing in the modes of material nature. Those in mode of ignorance are called Rakshasas. In the mode of passion are called Asuras, and those in the mode of goodness are called Suras or demigods. Under the direction of the Supreme Lord, these 3 classes of men are created by material nature, but those in the mode of goodness have a greater chance to be elevated to the spiritual world. home back to Godhead. Back home back to Godhead. Prabhupada also explain in the Krishna book, at the end of the 18th chapter, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Tat Dhanudhara, Yatra Vijaya Bhuti. Prabhupada explains that wherever there is Krishna and Arjuna, there will be all opulences. So Prabhupada comments in the purport to that chapter that if one establishes relationship with Krishna, then he'll enjoy all these 6 opulences. Krishna will reciprocate with him. So there's a quote, Prabhupada comments in the Bhagavad Gita somewhere. He says, in the material world, everyone has a relationship as father and son, master and servant, friend, and husband and wife, lover and beloved. But the relationship we have will end at the time of death. But if we establish that relationship with Krishna, that will remain always fresh. This is considered real opulence. The example is in the material world, the love people have is lost because it's meant for selfish purposes. They want to fulfill their own purposes. And it's considered like iron. But the love for Krishna is like gold. And that love will always remain fresh. So we see the difficulties happening in the world now. Prabhupada commented, they want the kingdom of God without God. So impossible proposal. So because of that, then they get into karma. Because Prabhupada comments in the 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he says, as soon as one acts independently from scriptural understanding, from scripture, and he doesn't have a spiritual teacher, then he falls into the modes of nature. And from the modes of nature, it expands in 81 different ways. And the 3-4 miseries come in. So then the karma comes in. Karma comes in. Krishna is teaching in the human form of life, people have a special prerogative they can understand things properly. They have discriminating power. Animals don't have, they go by instinct. So human life is very rare. So human life, one can actually achieve perfection if he uses his independence properly, with intelligence. There's an English saying, God helps those who help themselves. So, and surrender is not difficult. Surrender is easy actually. The only thing which blocks surrender is our material attachments. So how to break those material attachments? We have to understand Krishna's opulences. And understanding who Krishna is, the attachments will become less and less. And the example is given in the Surrender unto Buddhism. Prabhupada gives an example. He gives an example. Say one has a friend who's a multi-billionaire. And by the click of his fingers, all your problems are solved. Who would not like to have a friend like that? Isn't it? Everyone would like to have a friend like that. So, Krishna is that friend. People don't realize. So, this is the blessing of Lord Chaitanya. Prabhupada comments, actually, he comments that if it wasn't for Lord Chaitanya's coming, if Lord Chaitanya did not come, demons would have taken over this planet by now. from the lower planets, they would have taken over this earth by now. But Lord Chaitanya is holding them back. So, if we take shelter of the Krishna consciousness movement and follow the process, then we will be protected. Even if difficult times comes, it won't affect us. The difficulty is people put too much emphasis on the body, but we are not the body. We are spirit soul. We have nothing to do with the body. And the challenge in spiritual life is also to overcome emotions. Emotions is the thing which blocks us to make advancement. We have to come to a spiritual platform. So how to come to a spiritual platform? We have to understand Krishna's opulences, Krishna's greatness. The more our faith becomes stronger in Krishna, then everything becomes revealed. And Prabhupada comments in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he said, Krishna, he comments, he says that Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita for the benefit of the whole world. So although Krishna may not be physically present in front of our eyes, he's there through his teachings. So and Krishna is absolute, so we follow his teachings, then we get his association. And this path is very joyful. Prabhupada says if someone is practicing spiritual life, he is not joyful, that means he's doing something wrong. So there's 6 processes of surrender. Prabhupada comments in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he says, one should accept things favorable for practicing Krishna consciousness, reject things which are not favorable, have firm conviction in the Lord's protection, accept Krishna as our Lord and Master, always be willing to fulfill Krishna's purpose, and always make meek and humble. So by following these 6 guidelines of surrender, then Krishna's mercy will come. So in the Krishna book, Prabhupada comments that someone may have a desire to serve Krishna, but at the same time he is attached to opulence, his own material attachments. But then for that devotee, Krishna will take away the attachments. Every time the opulence will be taken away. So Prabhupada comments, for that devotee, the best thing is to be in the association of devotees. And if he's around devotees, then he'll get the proper understanding how to advance in spiritual life. Because Krishna, when he deals with devotees, he deals in a nice way. He does it in a nice, sweet way. But if we try and do it our way, then Krishna will do it in a way to teach us a lesson that is not going to work. And we can see that in the world situation. People are trying to do it their way. We can see what's happening. And the other challenge is, Prabhupada gave, is that we are following the line of parampara. So that's in the opulence of Krishna, that he is with his devotees. And if we follow that line of parampara, the teachings are as it is, it's never changed. Modern education doesn't go by the parampara line, they go by the ascending process, trying to work things out in their own way. So we can see from experience that leads to confusion, it leads to frustration. So we should accept this path, and then everything will become easy for us. I'll stop here. Any comments or questions? Just accept it. You have to understand it. Yeah, you just have to accept it. You have to accept it. Just having a faith. It's like, for example, Prabhupada was trying to preach in India for 30 years before coming to the West. Indians were not supporting Prabhupada. They were looking to the West, and they told Prabhupada. So Prabhupada, he went to the family, he said, give me one son, I can make him a Brahmana, I can take him with me. And they said, what's the use of having a Brahmana, Prabhupada? What's the use, Swamiji? They told him like that. Look to the West. So Prabhupada came to America, and he started off chanting Hare Krishna in Thompson Square Park. And he educated the Westerners about Lord Chaitanya. And they accepted. Just the fact that they accepted, they became devotees. Just shows. Yeah. Our teacher. Yeah. He's Krishna, he's not incarnation. He's Krishna himself.
Why do we see so much of Krishna in terms of the deities that we worship and not so much of Lord Chaitanya?
No, we have Lord Chaitanya. Middle deities are there. They're there. They came to show, in Chaitanya Charitamrita is mentioned, in Adi Lila Volume 1 is explained, the reason why the Pancha Tattva did not show the opulences, because Lord Chaitanya came with Lord Nityananda, Advaita Acharya, they were Vishnu Tattva. So if they showed the opulences as the Supreme Lord, then people would have they would have started imitating themselves to be God. So they didn't show that. So they show the ideal example how to become devotees. Like that. But to their followers they showed. Like Lord Chaitanya showed 21 hours of different incarnations. In general they showed how to become devotees.
Because Lord Chaitanya's teachings are the foundation of our movement.
Yeah. Yeah, it said Lord Chaitanya, Yuga Avatar for this age. So if he goes to Lord Chaitanya, then it becomes easy to approach Krishna. Because Lord Chaitanya is showing the highest mood of entering Goloka Vrindavan. So by going through that, everything becomes easy. There's an example given in Chaitanya Bhagavat how there was this king, Hussein Shah. He was a rebel. He was like against Hinduism, didn't accept he was Islam, no other religion. And he was based in Ramkeli. The Lord Chaitanya came to Ramkeli to see Rupa and Sanatana Goswami. So the story went how this minister, he knew Lord Chaitanya was, but he didn't want to tell the king. He thought maybe the king will harm Lord Chaitanya. The king asked, who is this mendicant? So many people are following, they're serving him, they're dancing with him. Oh, he's just some mendicant living under different trees. But the king couldn't accept that. So he asked, that time, Sakir Malik and Rupa Goswami. He asked Rupa Goswami, who is this mendicant? Rupa Goswami told the king that you're the king of Bengal And being the king, you've been given the kingdom by the Supreme Lord. In your religion, he's called Allah. In our religion, it's called Krishna. This is the same person coming to your kingdom. Now, whatever comes in your mind, you accept it. So the king was thinking and he accepted it. Now in Chaitanya Bhagavad, he's commented that the fact that this king was a rebel, he was very degraded, but the fact that he accepted Lord Chaitanya, all his bad qualities turn into good qualities. On the other hand, someone have all good qualities, but he doesn't accept Lord Chaitanya, all those good qualities turn into bad qualities. Like that. So one has to accept Lord Chaitanya. There is no so much evidence has been given of who Lord Chaitanya is. So he said even the demigods, they when Lord Chaitanya was a small Nimai Pandit, he had some puppies coming to him, you know. He was playing with some puppies. He took one puppy, because Lord Chaitanya was born in a Brahmana family. Brahmanas don't keep dogs in their houses. So Lord Chaitanya took this puppy, tied it up in his house. Nice puppy, he tied it up in the house. And his student friends went to Sachimata and complained, his mother, look at your son, he's tied a puppy in the house. So Sachimata untied the puppy, and the puppy was running down the town. And from Goloka, a plane came down, you know. And the puppy attained his spiritual form, went back to Goloka Vrindavan. So the demigods were praying to Lord Chaitanya, as you deliver this puppy and you gave him perfection, give us blessings also. So that shows, that's Lord Chaitanya. So there is no excuse of not accepting Lord Chaitanya. So actually, with the Indian community, we have to emphasize on who Lord Chaitanya is, to educate them. And then, in time they'll change over time. But it's like when you're even recognizing Prabhupada, not many recognize who he really is. But it's like being near a mountain, you don't see the greatness of the mountain. As you go further away, you see the greatness. So in time, as his movement goes on, you see the generations coming, they'll recognize who Prabhupada is. Even now, I think Calcutta, there was a golden statue of Lord Chaitanya, right? Going towards Mayapur. So it's happening slowly. But it's something one must follow. Then one can one will get the real mercy. Prabhupada also said in his lectures about, spreading Krishna consciousness in his time. He said, we have so many devotees in different temples, 200, 100, isn't it? He said like this. We don't know how the income is coming, but it's coming. Right? So that's Lord Chaitanya's mercy. Prabhupada says like that. He mentioned it like that. And he says by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, the difficult things become easy, and without his mercy, the easy things become difficult. And from that, you can learn, like the scientists, they're not ready to accept who Lord Chaitanya is. This is why they try and say life comes from matter, right? Although they can't prove it, but they can't see the other side of it, isn't it? It's very simple. Yeah, so we have to. It says if you're 100% sincere, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur comments on this. If you're 100% sincere, Krishna himself will come and guide you. If you're 50-50, you get someone 50-50. And if you have a different mentality, according to what you have, you get according to our mentality, you get someone else guiding you according to the mentality. But the thing is, the living entity has to surrender. He's never fully independent. But Prabhupada, in that discussion with Professor Kottavasky, he mentioned the point that once you surrender to Krishna, then that's full surrender. There is no revolution after that. So that's opulence. That's real opulence, right? You surrender to someone, you're fully satisfied.
So true. It's very difficult for humans to understand these things because they have such a, our egos are so huge and the mind is so crazy and you don't understand that we are not mind.
No, this is why I explained in the class. You have to go by what the parampara is. Like Prabhupada is giving the teachings, you follow those teachings as it is. Then if you're not sure, you discuss it with devotees, get clarification. Then it becomes easy to understand.
Just by coming to classes for the last 3 months and coming to the temple and learning so much on YouTube, listening to the classes, I've learned so much.
Yeah, so you have to do it like that. Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, 3 lines of authority. Don't follow the mind. Mind will degrade you.
Just life becomes so smooth.
Yeah, so it's like that, see. See, there's 2 kinds of worlds. In this Lord Chaitanya explained, in this world there's only 2 things real. The holy name and the Vaishnavas. Everything else is temporary. If you're around devotees, you chant holy name, you do some service, you read scriptures, everything will become easy. So it's just we have mind independence, that's the thing, see. We use it properly, then everything becomes easy. But Krishna does say it's a rare soul who surrenders. It's not everyone will surrender. And Prabhupada said in his lecture, I heard 828, he said, because of our conditioned nature, it becomes very difficult to surrender. But Prabhupada did say, you can do it in 1 second, it can be possible. But generally people don't do it because they want to approach it in their own way. So if you approach it in your own way, it'll take many lifetimes. And the other thing is, Krishna will always get his way. You will never get your way. Krishna will get his way. See, from Krishna's point of view, our difficulties are very insignificant. So, easier approach is to go through the spiritual master, the Vaishnavas. Like Prabhupada gave the example, simple. He said, if a rich person, he's got everything, you can't really please him. But you please his son, then he's pleased. So something like that. You please Krishna's devotee, then Krishna is pleased. Okay, I'll stop here. Any other comments or questions? Antaraj Srimad Bhagavad Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.